Your POV. Hey Shinso, come here, I shouted from across the room. I got some strange looks, but I don't care about other people's opinions. He walked up to me and sat in the empty chair in front of me. What is it? He asked, and I smiled. I was thinking that we could do some training later, to work on stamina and strength, and also I need to work on my reflexes, I said, and he shrugged. Yeah, sure. What time and where? He asked, in his usual tired voice. I was thinking about 5 at the gym, if that's okay with you, I asked, and he nodded. That's fine, he said, and the bell rang for us to leave. I got up and smiled. Well, see you later. I have some things to do before training, I said, and he waved as I walked out the door. My phone started to ring, and I held it up, seeing that my brother was calling. Hello, I said, and he started to laugh. Yo, little sis, want to train at the gym today? He asked, and I sighed. Already have plans to train with someone else, I said, and he groaned. Oh well. Hey, I have an idea. Why don't I train with both of you? Who are you training with? He asked. Hitoshi, I said, and he snorted. So you mean to tell me that you're training with your crush? That's gold, he shouted, and I blushed. He's not my crush, I shouted, and he chuckled. Well, whatever, I'll train with the two of you. When are you starting? He asked, and I sighed. 5, I said. All right, see you then, he said, and hung up. I put my phone away and walked to the apartment, seeing my dog jumping up and down at my arrival. He barked and ran up to me, wagging his tail. Hey, Ash, I said, and picked him up. Okay, hold on. Hi, Ash, I said, and picked him up, petting his fur. I grabbed his leash and hooked it onto his collar, walking him out the door and to the park. Time skip. I looked at my clock, seeing that it was 4 o'clock. I jogged back home and started to get ready to train. I put on some running shorts, a sports bra, and a tank top. I jogged to the gym, seeing Hitoshi is waiting for me. Okay, so just so you know, my brother said he's going to randomly show up, so warning, I said, and he nodded. We walked in and I smiled, seeing multiple weights and a mat for spars, along with multiple other exercise machines. Can we lift weights first? I need to work on my strength. Can we lift weights first? I need to work on my strength, Hitoshi asked, and I nodded, walking to the weight bench. I put on 3 10-pound weights on each end and laid down. I lifted the bar and started to move it to my chest and then back up repeatedly. How much are you lifting? I asked, and he sighed. 20 on each arm, he said, and I nodded. Look at my little sister go! I heard a shout from across the room, putting my bar up and sitting up, seeing my brother waving at me, getting some stares from people versus yelling. He jogged over to us and smirked slightly when he saw Hitoshi. You two want to spar? He asked, and I nodded, heading over to the mat. The gym provides quirk-resistant bracelets so you don't tear everything up, so I picked up one and tossed it to my brother, then grabbed one for myself. You're going down, I said, and he smirked. You first, I said, and he ran at me, throwing a punch, which I dodged. I grabbed his wrist and the nape of his neck, then threw him to the ground. He groaned, but jumped up. Where did you learn to do that? He asked, and I smiled. At my internship, I said, and he nodded. He then threw another punch at me, but I ducked, lunging him in the stomach, then kicking his jaw while he was on the ground. I sat on his back. You win, he said, and Hitoshi walked up. That was good, he said, and I rubbed the back of my neck. Well, I guess, I said, not really believing him. Maybe I can give him a confidence boost if I let him win against me, I thought, and stood up. I want to go against you, I said, and he shrugged. We stood at opposite ends of the mat and both ran each other. That's when I realized that I couldn't read his moves like I could my brother's. He went to punch me, but pulled back quickly, kicking my feet under me. I fell but quickly jumped up. I ran at him, going to punch his stomach, but he dodged, kicking my back. "Have you gotten slower?" he asked, and I looked at him. "Maybe." My body went numb, and I had no control. Crap, he isn't wearing a bracelet. I mentally screamed. Soon, my feeling came back, and I blinked. That was a dirty trick, but it was smart. "You're thinking like a hero," I said, and he smiled softly. "Well, it's getting late. We should go home," my brother said, and we all nodded. When we walked outside, it was pouring. Crap. Hitoshi whispered, and I looked up at him. "You can walk home with me. I mean, it's not that far. Maybe 3 minutes? Just stay the night," I said, and he nodded. We started to walk and got home quickly. We walked in, and I walked to my brother's old room, which still had some clothes that I think Hitoshi would wear. I tossed him a shirt and pants. "You can dry off and change into that if you'd like," I said, and he nodded. I showed him to the bathroom so he could change, and I walked to my room, changing into a hoodie and leggings. When I walked into the living room, Hitoshi was laying on the sofa. "I'm tired," he mumbled and closed his eyes. I smiled and put a blanket over him. "Well then, good night," I said, and started to walk to my room. "Thank you," he said, and I looked back at him. "For what?" I asked, and he sat up. "Letting me win that fight today," he said, and I smiled at him. "You did that all on your own," I said, and he smiled slightly, then laid back down. I walked into my room and laid down. "Good night," I heard Hitoshi say from the living room. "Good night," I said back.